Hi, my name is Patricio. I work for Querix, and today we're going to be analyzing something quite interesting that I read 2 years ago from Silge. Julie is a data scientist and software engineer for Positron, the people behind RStudio. And basically, she had this, as usual, a very nice post. And she formulated the following question, like, how often does Roy Kent say the word? And I'll leave to the audience to say that in your own mind. And for those who are not familiar, who's Roy Kent? Well, Roy Kent is a character in Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso is a series that you can watch on Apple TV, but basically, yeah, you can read a bit about that. And there is like the main regular character feature in Apple TV series. And today we're going to be analyzing this gruff, passionate, and wonderfully profane former footballer turned coach. So what are the goals, basically? Our goals is to estimate exactly like Julia in her blog post did, like basically estimate how Roy's use of what appears to be his favorite word. And basically, we're going to try to estimate it when he's coaching, basically, does managing a football team stress him out, or when he's dating. So basically the question is, does being with Kelly soften his language? So as you can see here, we're going to steal the dataset from Deepsha Menghani. She did a very good presentation at the POSIT conference in 2023, exploring Polish visualization using Plotly and Crosstalk. The data tracks every F-bomb Royce Kent drops across all the 34 episodes of the Ted Lasso seasons 1 to 3, along with the metadata about his relationships and career status at each point. And the dataset is available. I will put the link with the data so you can recreate all of this. And it's also through the richmondway package. So now that we understand what we're going to do, again, we're going to focus on one character and how often does say the word there, either when he's coaching his team or when he's in a relationship. So, and for that, we're going to be using one of the tools that we create. And that tool is our statistical package for LLMs. And what it does enable us is to basically do the analysis that you will usually do with Python and R. You can do it in a conversation with this machine. So one of the things that for the nature of the work that we do in our company, usually we have the data in SQL and usually Windows SQL Server. So here we have the information. It really doesn't matter. I'm just trying to show you that I'm not going to use a CSV files like Julia Silge did. I'm going to just be using what most of you working in finance and banking and insurance will use, which is a SQL database. And here's the Roy Kent dataset. And we're going to be using that exactly right now. So what we're going to say is very simple. We're going to prompt the machine and say that that we need to, we're going to describe what we have, which basically is that I have the Lasso Roy Kent F-word data in a SQL Server send. The database is called Dr. Who, and the table is Roy Kent. And this is exactly as you can see here. I want to make it a bit bigger. there, but this is where we are extracting our data. So this is a bit of the difference when working with SQL, right? We describe the columns, and I'm saying to the agent, connect to the database and answer how often does Roy Kent use the word. Calculate the total F-bombs across all the episodes, the average per episode, breakdown by season, is there a trend, top 5 episodes with most F-bombs. And then I make a little note that the table has 3 rows per episode, 1 per character, so use distinct on episode for unique episode. Okay, so let's see what happened. Okay, so now I'm beginning to connect to our SQL Server. It's connecting to SQL Server and the database. It's listing the tables. As you can see here, it will begin to query the dataset. It reasons a bit. You can see here how it's like trying to connect and reason over the dataset. And now come back with the analysis. So in a few seconds, we got a nice conversation. Our assistant, our agent, is basically telling us what is the F-bomb analysis. We have the total F-bomb 900, unique episode 34, average per episode is 26.5, and so on and so forth. So you can see here a very nicely displayed trend by season. There is a clear upward trend. And look, this is very interesting that the Roy Kent, the F-bomb frequency more than doubled from season 1 to season 3. I wonder, it's a bit of a reflection of our culture, maybe. So now we have the top 5 F-bomb episodes, like the season finale. There is a lot there, and so on. So you see what we are like. We have the data. Data is crucial. Very well organized, thanks to the data set that we took. So now I want to basically test if, like what we said at the beginning, right? If Roy Kent swears more when he's coaching or versus not coaching. So I'm gonna tell the machine to what I want, where to get the data, and basically get me some groupings of the means and also the sample size. And again, the machine opens on the side, and you can see that immediately gets some information. So now we got what we want. We want when he's coaching, no. Total 14 episodes, the mean F-bombs. When he's coaching, you see close to more than double. And now we have the data, right? And this is very important. We need to have, like, you always hear about like the importance of data. Now we have this very, very tidy, if you will. So now let me just take out that one. I want to use. Now here where I'm going to use. The machine is already telling me something that he wants to do. It wants to do, but I will basically say something a bit different. I'm going to push to use our MCP, and we're going to do something that is called resampling. And now we have this thing really flies. It went too quickly. So now we see that we have what is the confidence interval telling us. Roy can source more when coaching. The coaching group's lower bound 8.0 is nearly at the not coaching group upper bound 9. So there is a minimal overlap between the intervals, suggesting a real difference in behavior. So what is the bottom line? The transition from player to coach appeared to have unleashed Roykian's vocabulary. The data suggests coaching stress frustration leads to roughly double the F-bomb comparing to his playing days. This interval barely overlap. This isn't random noise. It's real behavioral shift. Okay. So let's see. So we need to find some. We need to find some way to capture the significance of this. And the machine already is telling me, would you like me to run a formal permutation test to get a p-value for this difference? So I could just say yes, but I'm just gonna continue with my little script. So now I'm telling you to use a 10,000 permutation to see if there is a real effect or just a random chance. So you can imagine that we are running this simulation, if you will. We are shuffling data up and down, and now we see that we actually get a confidence that this is not random noise. We are almost sure that coaching stresses significantly Roy. So the effect is confirmed, right? So now we need to find out if the dating effect plays a role here. So we're going to repeat the same analysis for the dating effect. We're going to get from the database the F count row values, grouping by dating flag, yes or no. We're going to run the Bootstrap confidence interval for each group. And we're going to run again the permutation test that you just saw to compare the groups. And once you see that, you realize that there is an interplay with the agent. The agent communicates, as you can see, with the SQL Server, gets information, and then sends it back to the MCP, our statistical MCP server. And we can see here how it's passing the information. And then we see it again. And then keeps marshalling with this one more time. And now you can see the response. And finally, we get the results, right? So let me just stop there so you can actually read what it's saying there. So let's see, what is the interpretation? Dating Kille, the partner of Roy, has zero effect on Roy's Ken swearing. The means are virtually identical, 8.8 versus 8.84. The p-value of 1.0 means that the difference is pure noise. Whether Roy is in a relationship or single, his F-bomb output stays constant. Okay? So now comes a bit of that we need to formalize this analysis. And we're going to use another technique. Basically following Julia Silge blog post. And let's see what happened. And it took nothing, a few seconds. So now we have the conclusion, right? And the regression confirmed our early findings, coaching twice more F-bombs is a significant predictor. So basically the predictor is that when it is coaching, you're gonna get double the F-bomb. And when dating, it's not significant. So what it's trying to say that Royken professional stress coaching is a statistically significant driver of his colorful vocabulary. And his romantic life, not so much. Which kind of makes sense. Like you wouldn't expect to be in a relationship saying F-bombs left and right. So now I'm gonna do the following, just to summarize everything. A little bit of another prompt. So now we have finally what we want, like the entire analysis. So we have the descriptive statistic. We have the number of F-bombs across the 34 episodes. We have the average per episode. We have the trend by season. So we have also the change. This is amazing. This is the kind of stuff that it will have taken me or anyone a lot of time to do, and we are just doing it on the fly and at lightning speed, right? There is a clear upward trend from season 1 to season 3. So now we have the confidence interval, the coaching effect. The coaching effects over what? Over how many times he will swear if it's statistically meaningful. So yeah, you have all the metrics that you probably would like to see if you're a statistical nerd, but if you are a manager, just analyzing the rough takeaways, then you have here the final summarization. So we have both methods. We have a permutation test and a GLM test, confirming coaching significantly increases swearing. The effect size, Royken swears approximately twice as many when coaching versus not coaching. And the baseline is 5 F-bombs per episode as a player and 11 F-bombs per episode as a coach. The dating effect is not real. There is no statistical evidence that dating killing affects Roy vocabulary. So bottom line, what is the bottom line of the entire analysis? And this is really, really nice. Professional stress transforms Royken's vocabulary. Romance does not. The transition from an injured footballer to assist coach is the pivotal moment that unleashes Royken's full expletive potential. Managing Jamie Tart, watching matches from the sideline and shouldering coaching responsibilities double his F-bomb output. Meanwhile, Kelly Jones, despite being a calming, positive influence in his life, has zero measurable impact on his linguistic choices. Royken is consistently, authentically, and statistically Royken, regardless of his relationship status. All right. All right. So I hope you like this little analysis. But I also want to stress the speed of this. And by the way, we can. I actually want to do this. I'm going to take the web page, and I'm going to open the question. Does our analysis agrees with Silge's blog post? So I'm gonna do like this. So we're gonna. So let's see what happens. Let's see if we are in agreement or not. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay, Julia's quote. Looks like we have a strong evidence that the droid can set facts more per episode when he's coaching, but no real evidence that he does so more or less when dating Kelly. Our conclusion, professional stress, coaching is a statistically significant driver of his colorful vocabulary. His romantic life, not so much. And look at the methodological differences. Julia used Poisson regression. We use negative binomial regressions and Bootstrap confidence interval with 1001 resamples. And we use permutation test plus GLM. Julia used R plus tidy model. We use our tool, MCP Statistical tools. And she was checking if the confidence intervals include 0. But we were using p-values directly. So yeah, same. So both approaches are valid for count data. Negative binomial is actually slightly more appropriate when there is an over-dispersion, which there is given the high variability of the F-bomb count. The bottom line, our analysis completely replicates Julia Silge's findings. Coaching makes Roy can swear more. Dating Kelly does not. Same data, same conclusion, different tools. Very, very nice. That's reproducible science. So with that, hopefully you will visit Julia's blog post. She really I know her very well. Excellent scientist. Works at Positron. I strongly suggest you to visit her blog post. So yeah, I hope you enjoy this podcast and see you soon.